Hello and welcome. My name is Andy Crook, and I'm your host for tonight's training topic on the subject of positioning. My mission is to help garage owners become more successful in business. How I do that is I go live almost every week on one of the 5 pillars of business as I see it. This week, we're in the marketing pillar, and we're talking about positioning. And in marketing terms, positioning is one of the strategies that can make or break a brand's success. At its core, positioning is about carving out a unique space in the customer's mind, ensuring that your brand or product is just not another face in the crowd, but a distinctive and preferable choice. This training topic examines 3 key elements of positioning: differentiation from competitors, your unique value proposition, and target audience identification. Understanding and mastering these elements can significantly enhance your marketing efforts and drive your brand towards sustainable success. Remember, effective positioning is not about being all things to all people, but about being the right thing to the right people. So let's look at the 3 key elements of positioning: differentiation from competitors, your unique value proposition, and target audience identification. Let's start with differentiation from competitors. And what is differentiation? Differentiation is the act of setting your brand, product, or service apart from others in the market. It's about highlighting what makes you unique and why customers should choose you over the alternatives. Effective differentiation can be the difference between blending into the background and standing out as leaders in your industry. A brand is not just a logo or company name, it's the overall perception and experience that customers have with your business. It includes your values, personality, promise to customers, and the emotions that you evoke. And it's difficult when you're a small or even a micro business to think that you have a brand, because you think brands are something that Tesco's and the likes have. But when we say brand you, what we're really on about is what is the overall perception or experience customers have when they use your products or services. So let's just clear that up at that point. So the next thing we want to look at is your unique value proposition, or UVP. A unique value proposition, or UVP, is a clear statement that describes the benefit of your offer, how you solve your customers' needs, and what distinguishes you from the opposition. It's the primary reason a prospect should buy from you. And the components of a strong UVP are relevancy, quantified value, and differentiation. So relevancy are how your product solves customers' problems or improves their situation. The quantified value is the specific benefits a customer can expect. And the differentiation is why customers should buy from you instead of the opposition. You've probably heard of a USP, unique selling point, but you probably, or you may have, heard of a unique value proposition. What's the difference? A USP tends to be product-centric, whereas a UVP tends to be a customer-centric approach to your value proposition. That it's a subtle difference, but it's a difference. We're looking at UVP rather than USP. If you use the term USP and you talk about your customer-centric approach as part of that, no one's going to worry about it. It's just another acronym for something we talk about when we're looking at marketing. The third part, or the third element of positioning, is your target audience identification. We've done a training topic on this before, and it was about, we called it finding your ideal customer, and we talked about creating avatars for your customers and developing detailed profile of your ideal customers. And we said we need to include demographics, psychographics, geographic, behavioral segmentation in that avatar. If you want to learn more about finding your ideal customer, check out guide number 3, and I'll put a link in the notes to that so you can get to it. If you listen to this on a blog, you won't get the blog, but you can check out the notes. Common mistakes in audience identification. What we tend to do is we cast the net too wide. We try to appeal to everyone, and often the results in appealing to no one, or basing decision on assumptions rather than the actual data. Focusing solely on demographics without considering psychographics, geographics, or behaviors. You need a reasonably broad brush, but you mustn't cast the net too wide, and you must base all decisions on data. They're the three elements of your positioning. The next thing we want to look at are the strategies for implementing it. So the strategies for effective differentiation. So I'm going to give you three because, as you know, if you've been listening to these training topics for a while, I try and do most things in threes. So strategies for effective differentiation. Number one, innovation. By being the first or the best at introducing new technologies and methodologies, you can see how easy it is to differentiate yourself if you're the first at something. And a good example of this is Tesla's early dominance in the electric vehicle market. The second one, customer service. You can differentiate your business through exceptional customer experiences. And a good example of this is Zappos' customer-first approach in online retailing. And third, brand personality. If you create a unique brand voice and identity that resonates with your audience, and probably one of the most famous ones of these that will resonate with males listening to this is the Dollar Shave Club's humorous and relatable brand personality in the grooming industries. So what are the things to avoid? Once again, I run for three things to avoid. Avoid over-differentiation. Ensure your differentiators are relevant to your target audience. Neglecting the core benefits. Don't focus so much on being different that you ignore what your customers fundamentally need. Remember, when you're doing this, it's about your customers, not really about you. And that's a trap it's easy to fall into. I think it's all about yourselves and how you're going to try and be different, and you forget about why you're doing it. And the reason you're doing it is for your customers. And then the third one I put down here is copycat differentiation. If you mimic someone else's strategy, it's not going to be unique, is it? And therefore, you need to find your own unique angle. Customers will see through it if you're just doing the same as somebody else, especially if you do that in the same locality. So they're the strategies for effective differentiation. Moving on to crafting your unique value proposition. And this one I can't do in three, unfortunately. So I've given a step-by-step, if you like, plan. And the reason for this, as you'll see in a second, is it's all part of how you craft and implement your UVP within your marketing. So the first thing you must do is identify your target customer's main problem. What is the pain point you are addressing? And then you need to position your product or your business or your brand as the solution. And be comprehensive, include lots of things. Now, the way I like to think about doing this for small businesses is if you start by looking at your business and crafting your UVP for your business, once you've got that down, then look at all the individual services or products that you provide, and then do the same for that and for those. So you've got your business UVP and then you've got your products UVPs. So what you end up with is a comprehensive number of UVPs for all the different offers you have, but one overall UVP for your business. And once you know what pain point it is you're addressing, what product or brand or business you've provided to solve that particular pain point, what you're going to do next is provide a step-by-step plan and connect the features to outcomes. And what you're going to do is you're going to describe the future for your customer. And what you're going to do first, and the reason I've put this first is because you're twice as likely to do something to avoid a loss than to gain something. It's called loss evasion. And describe the future and provide the negative outcomes if they don't use your product or your business. So what would it be like if they choose not to use you, if they don't use your service? And then describe the future as a positive outcome if they do use your product or your business. And finally, make sure you include a call to action. And the key thing when you look at crafting your UVP for your customers and how you're then going to use it, implement it within your business, is make sure, and I'll go over this again because it's really important, you identify your customer's problem, you position your product as the solution, you provide a step-by-step plan by connecting the features to the outcomes, Now, it's important when you do this is your customers will be asking two things really. Will this work for me and how do I get it? And that step-by-step plan must answer those two questions. By connecting the features to the outcomes, will it work for me? You're going to describe their future in a negative way and in a positive way. If you only do one, do the positive way. And then you're going to provide with them with a call to action, how they're going to get it. So the describing the future and the step-by-step plan are really about, will it work for me? And what will it look like? And what if I don't do it? What will it look like? And at the end, how do I get it? The call to action. Make sure that's really clear. So how do you implement your UVP? You need to prominently display on your website and your marketing materials. You need to think about how you have that conversation with your customers. How do you connect with? What do you do? What drags them in to read more about your particular business? And your UVP will get them if you identify the right customer and what their biggest pain point is. You've got them. The next thing you need to do, obviously, is position your brand or product as the solution to that problem, whatever that problem is that you've identified. Once again, you need to incorporate your UVP into your elevator pitch. So when someone asks you what you do, make sure that you know what problem you solve for who and how. And use the guiding principle for product development and marketing strategies. Your UVP, using that process that I've just gone through, 6-step process, identify the problem, position your product or business as the solution, provide a step-by-step plan, describe the future, negative outcome, describe the future, positive outcome, and then include a call to action, how you get it. You will be doing so much better than just about everybody else in our industry. So that takes us to the third bit again, implementing our segmentation strategy. So we've done a training topic on your ideal customer, but we want to just quickly go over what we're looking for here. So we're going to go with a demographic segmentation, which is basically the age, your gender, the income, education, etc. of your ideal customer. And then we're going to look at the geographic segmentation, which is location-based targeting. Do you want customers from your immediate surroundings, or do you want customers from far away? There's been quite a bit of research done on how people find or search for their ideal garage. And it's amazing how many people pick the garage that's closest to them that meets their criteria. So you can't ignore the geographic segmentation. Even if you are trying to attract customers from further afield, a large number of your customers will come from your immediate vicinity. It's just the way life is. Then you're going to go look for psychographic segmentation. So you're going to look at lifestyles, values, interests, and attitudes. And often in this one, it's probably a little bit more subtle, and you're going to have to work a little bit harder to find these things out. But once you do know what they are, it's probably key in developing your marketing strategy. And then finally, behavioral segmentation. What are these customers' purchasing habits? How have they interacted with your business previously? How loyal they are, etc., etc. And these are things you're probably already aware of if you're doing any kind of customer classification. The behavioral segmentation tends to be how we classify our customers. So tailor your approach once you've identified your target audience. Customize your messaging to resonate with their specific needs and preferences. So once you know which customer you're speaking to, make sure you're addressing their pain point, their particular needs, and what their preferences are. Then choose the correct marketing channels that are most effective in reaching that demographic or that avatar, that demographic, because you'll be aware that different age groups, for example, use different social media as a generalization. And then develop products or services that cater for their unique requirements. If you're going after a particular ideal customer, make sure that your services and products cater to their unique requirements. That shows that you really understand your customer and what they're looking for. And then create content that speaks directly to their pain points, aspirations, and fears. Remember, we're twice as motivated by a loss than we are a gain. So how do we bring all this together? The synergy of differentiation, UVP, and the target audience. The true power of positioning lies how these three elements work together. Your differentiation strategy should directly inform your unique value proposition. And your unique value proposition should be crafted with your target audience in mind. Your target audience identification should guide you in your differentiation from competitors. By aligning these three elements, you create a cohesive and compelling market position that clearly communicates your brand's value, resonates deeply with your intended audience, and sets you apart in meaningful ways from your competition. To summarize, mastering the art of positioning through differentiation, a compelling, unique value proposition, and precise target identification is not a one-time task, but an ongoing process. Markets evolve, customer preferences shift, and competition intensifies. By regularly revisiting and refining your positioning strategy, this ensures that your brand remains relevant, compelling, and distinct in the minds of your target audience. Remember, effective positioning is not about being all things to all people, but being the right thing to the right people. By focusing on these three key elements, you can create a powerful market position that not only attracts customers, but turns them into loyal advocates of your brand. Clear and strategic positioning isn't just an advantage, it's a necessity. If you take the time to thoroughly understand and implement positioning in your marketing, your brand will carve out its unique space within the market and in the hearts and minds of your customers. The atomic action for this week is to position your business using the three elements of positioning: differentiation, unique value proposition, and yet ideal customer. If I've made you think even a little bit how you can pull positioning into your marketing, then I've done my job. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.